There we go.
Welcome.
Well, in this conference room, the computer is blue. It says updating Windows, 2% done. All right. All right. Well, Jim, I'm glad you were logged on because that's the only thing that saved the meeting. And Fran, I saw Fran. I need like 5 of you to stay put so we can do these minutes. As soon as she's back, let's go to the minutes, okay? And I'll follow up, Kristen, on that the Shred-it stuff. I'm sure sustainability would be interested in helping, coordinate maybe more than one a year, whether we need to find sponsors or figure that out. Fran, you're back.
I'm back.
Awesome. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of September 17th?
So moved.
Thank you, Fran. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Robin. All in favor of approving them?
Hi.
Yay. Okay. Thank you. I just want to make sure we took care of that bit of business while I still had a quorum here. Cool. All right. Any other questions or comments about the report, my report on my activities? No? Okay. Good. Let's go ahead and move on. So Harvest Fest was October 13th. It was very well attended, despite some iffy weather and rain at the end. Thank you to those who volunteered. Robin was there, Fran was there, Kristen was there, Trisha, I can't remember if Trisha came through. Yeah, and we shared.
She was at a different table.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because she was there with good company. She stopped by. I was like, I felt like I saw her. And the Arts Council and the EDC shared a table with Abdo and his mojitos, which was quite the draw. And housing was just next door, so it was great. All my things were close together. It made it easier for me. We collected 19 new emails, which I thought was great. And one thing that you all did a really good job at, whoever was working it, is on the slip of paper to sign up, you can sign up for the Selectmen's email and the Explorer monthly newsletter. And many people checked both because they're local, but a lot of people checked the second one because they're either already signed up or, from what I could tell from the emails, they were not local but wanted to get the Explorer newsletter. So that's really exciting. We got a lot of people from out of town coming to the Harvest Fest. And if we get them to sign up for that monthly newsletter from Explorer, it's just reminding them that we have things going on all the time and come back and visit us and shop with us and eat with us. So yeah, so that was great. Good job on that. Fran, while we're talking about Harvest Fest, do you want to share any thoughts from the WBA about it?
Yeah, I mean, the estimate is that there were about 2,000 people there. Hard to tell, even though we do keep track of it. People don't necessarily follow the unwritten rules of where you enter. So they kind of sneak in from all kinds of directions. But I think 2,000 to 2,200 is reasonable. It was fun. The scarecrows were there. The rain didn't come till the end of the day, so that I don't think it prevented anyone from coming. But ready for next year.
Great. And I know the WBA usually sends out a questionnaire to at least the vendors, kind of trying to get some feedback. I don't know.
Liz's committee does that. So yes,
okay.
There will be feedback. The committee will take all suggestions.
It's interesting because I wonder if other people feel this way, but having done this every year for the last, 4 or 5 years, I always feel like most of the people who come through, it's the noon to 2 to 3, and the 4 to 5 is kind of slow. Now that is when it started raining this year, so I don't know if that is as great an indicator, but I know some people start kind of like packing up and there aren't as many people there. So I don't know if anyone had ever suggested making it shorter, but maybe vendors wouldn't be as interested because then they would not, they would have to set up for a shorter time. So I don't know, but it was definitely more crowded in the first couple hours.
Well, the weather started to change by around 3 o'clock, so I think that probably also was a reason for people to begin exiting.
Yeah, I agree. I also heard the feedback that the depot was very busy. You know, people were parked all over the place, walking back and forth, and that stores were busy in the depot as well.
Businesses were busy.
Which is great. That's kind of, you know, from an economic development point, that's great to hear. So, good stuff. Anybody else have comments or feedback on the Harvest Fest? We had our parking signs were out this year, and I think that seemed to help. I didn't see quite as many people parked in unsafe places along School Street, for example. Although I wasn't out in the middle of it, but from what I heard, people were parked all over the depot. So that was great. That's really good. All right, moving on, guidebook update. So I did not get to working on the guidebook. We had so many other things going on this month, but I did, as you all know, we've run out of print guides. We need to do an update, and I had Trisha, Liz, Fran, Robin, and myself volunteer to work on this update. And I've assigned some pages, so I'm going to email that out around. And actually, we have enough people that we each only need to take 2 pages. I'm going to take 3, but everyone else has 2 pages. But what I am going to do is I'm going to email the PDF version. This is the guidebook that I'm talking about. I'm going to email the PDF version to everyone on the committee. And what I would like everyone to do is to go through and actually read it. You know, it's not a lot of reading. It's like, you know, a little intro page, but I want to just make sure that it's still all relevant, that we're not referring to any kind of festivals that don't happen anymore, you know, just to make sure, you know, we're the locals, we're the boots on the ground here for making sure that everything that, all the like storytelling is still relevant. And then for those of us who have signed up to do the update for if you have 2 pages, what you're going to need to do is go through and just verify it. Make sure that the web address is still correct, that it's leading people to the right place. We try not to put hours of operation because those change too frequently, but we want to make sure that the addresses, I know some of these people have moved around a little bit. So just want to verify all of the information and obviously that they're still in business. And if they're not, well, who's there now? So that's what we're going to be doing and getting all those updates to Julia at Explore so that we can at least get our electronic version completely up to date. And then once we have figured out the reorder, we will work on the print ones, hopefully in time to have them for next season. As Fran can tell you, and anybody who's been in the depot this fall, we have had visitors. We have had Gilmore Girls fans all fall, and it has been rather exceptional, actually, which is great news. But the guidebooks are out. I found my stack, Fran. I have like 60 left, so I'm just going to distribute those last few, and then we'll be officially out, and we'll need to really get working on this reorder. Has the WBA talked about it at all, Fran?
We haven't had a meeting recently. I mean, yes, I mean, we've talked about it to the extent of we need them and what a valuable tool it is, but not in terms of any particulars, no.
Okay. That's okay. I know it's always tough too, because we're going right into holiday in the depot. So the minute you wrap up Harvest Fest, and it's the holiday season, and it's been busy. So a lot of the plate for the businesses. So this might be more of a like January, February project when things finally calm down. Any questions on the guidebook there. So those who said they would help, I will get your pages assignment to you. I will email the PDF version to everyone so that we can, and just remind everyone that I'd like them to take a look through and make any notes of things that don't seem relevant anymore. All right, moving on to the winter lights. So, it's been taking up my last couple of weeks, big project. I don't know where, I don't even know where, oh, here's my folder. Well, I don't think I really need it. So, the idea this year was not to add trees, but to just relight what we had. Trisha helped me put together a new fundraising letter, which was nice because I'd been kind of using a redo of the same letter for the last 3 or 4 years. It was emailed to everyone who had donated in the past, plus a few other new people in the depot, but only emailed once. So my plan, I was going to try to get to it this week. I will try maybe tomorrow, was to print a hard copy with an envelope to bring around to people I have not heard back from. But in the meantime, all the trees have been addressed. We have about 230 lights roughly in the trees, in the 12 trees that we have. Let me just double check that, make sure. I never remember. I think it's 12. And so we ordered 115 lights just in case half of them were out. We did not need all of them. I have some extras in my office. However, one interesting thing that did happen is when the guys went to fix the ASAP tree, the one that I call it the ASAP tree, but it's on the property sort of between the White House that used to have the lawyers, and now it's the designers have moved in from next door. It's kind of hard to explain, but right there
by
near
Jay
the
McLaughlin, but toward in front of Jay McLaughlin, kind of.
Yeah, in front of Jay McLaughlin.
Towards 47.
Same parking lot as National Iron Bank, that White House. Well, there are some trees between that White House and the little brown building that's commercial as well. While the guys were there with their truck, somebody came running out and saying, hey, don't do the lights. We're going to cut down that tree. So the guys just left, which was great because we had a meeting about how to make this as cost efficient as possible, right? Just to plan it out so that we didn't waste any time of the arborists or the electricians. And they were quick this year. It was great. So they just left that tree and moved on. I've been reaching out, trying to get a hold of somebody to find out what the deal is with those trees. At this point, it's not going to be relit, but I do want to at least grab our extension cords out of it. We're going to have to see if they want to relight a different tree. I don't know how many of those trees they're going to take down. In the meantime, though, Community Table contacted me to see if they could add a tree. And since we were pulling the ASAP tree offline, I thought that was a great idea. They're on 202 out in the Woodville commercial zone, which we don't have any trees out that way. So that tree was supposed to be done on Friday, and I did not hear yet how that installation went. But luckily I had some lights in my office, and I was able to get those together. So this year it'll still be the same number of trees, but we'll have one at Community Table instead of the one at ASAP, which I think fits well with the feedback we were getting, that the depot was pretty well saturated, but people kind of liked that we had one on the green and one in Marbledale and up in New Preston. So hopefully everyone will be happy, and they're going to be turned on sometime around Thanksgiving. I don't know exactly.
Well, I drove up 202 the other night, and I'm rarely out in the dark driving up 202, and all of New Preston was lit up with wherever the tree is there. It looks spectacular driving up 202. It really catches your eye, and it really looks great.
Great, thanks. Yeah, I agree. The Smithy has gone a little rogue on the whole turning it on before everyone else. They turned them on for they had a Harvest Fest or something, which was fine. I think theirs is a little harder because of where the electricity, I think you need to be on the extension ladder to unplug it. So like once it was on, it was on. So everyone else went on for the reinstallation but theirs, and then we're turned off, but theirs was never turned off. Yeah, but it looks great.
It looks great, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they're all looking pretty good. We're doing pretty well with the fundraising. I need, I think we're more than halfway there, but I need to do a reminder and reach out to the people that I have not heard back from. And then I want to try to extend, I'm sure there are businesses that I have not reached. Trisha wrote a letter to send to people, like same idea, but geared more towards private residents versus businesses. But I wasn't really sure how to distribute that, so we have not used that yet. I don't know if anyone has thoughts on that. No? All right. Well, if you think of anything, I know.
Maybe in the Friday newsletter, Jim's newsletter, any interest in sponsoring a tree?
Maybe just a quick, picture of the lights and, if you're interested in contributing, like a link to the letter instead of putting the whole letter in, maybe. Or just saying, reach out to me if you are interested. I did have my first donation was actually a private resident who, before I'd even ordered the lights, said, hey, I was thinking about them. It's such a wonderful project. I hope you'll be doing it again this year. And I immediately emailed him. It was actually a first draft of the letter. We hadn't even finalized it. So I know there are private residents out there who, enjoy the lights and would contribute. So we'll have to.
What about maybe in memory or in honor of somebody?
Ooh. Wow, that's a really nice idea, Kristen. I like that. Okay. And because we kind of geared the business letter towards sponsoring the trees, but yeah, you could light one in honor of someone. I think that's a nice angle to the private resident. So I'll look and I'll do that. So the selectmen, I'll try to put something in for this Friday. A little appeal. Great idea.
In terms of that, would you be able to do a direct link so that they could contribute at that moment?
Say that again. Would I be able to what?
Do a direct link in the newsletter copy so that they could make their contributions there. Is there any way to do that?
A link to where?
To where they would donate. So that if I see, if you're going to put it in the selectmen's newsletter, if I could hit a button, make my donation, then I don't have to remember to do something later.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We don't take electronic contribution.
Okay. Yeah,
and the WBA is not a non-profit, so I can't run it through. Most people want the tax deduction, so
maybe a link to just some kind of form that they can fill out and mail in.
Does Village Improvement have an online giving?
No, well, we could easily create that. You could run it through it.
I have a visitor. I'm going to be in a meeting for like an hour. So let me explore that because all the checks are written to Village Improvement. So I was thinking the link would just be to the letter, and the letter has the address for Village Improvement and how to make the check out. But if Village Improvement has a way to contribute electronically, maybe we could link that. We could maybe link that in. So we can explore that. That's a great idea, Fran. Thank you. All right. Does anyone else have any comments or questions about the winter lights? Okay. I did get an email when I got in yesterday. Somebody from another town asking again, like, where do you buy them? How do you do this? I've had 2 or 3 this season. Every season we get some through Explorer, or people find me somehow directly. They must call the selectman's office and they send them to me. So they continue to be a big hit. So we'll keep on with this project. Oh, one of the things that Trisha and I had talked about, I'll just let you know, is that in the sponsor letter, we said sponsors would be acknowledged. And in years past, I had put a thank you in the selectman's email with all the sponsors' names in it. But we talked about this year, I was going to make a 2x3 poster with all the sponsors' names on it and put it out at Holiday in the Depot. I don't know where, but somewhere in front of Town Hall or somewhere, probably Town Hall. You know, people, it's kind of a central place where people will see it, and there'll be a picture of the lights, and it'll just thank the sponsors for the lights because they will all be lit by then. So if we think of any other ways to thank our sponsors, that would be great, because I know that's always helpful in making sure we get people to sponsor again the next year. Okay, that's it. We'll move on to new business. I've got 3 things on here. The first one is New Preston parking. And actually I said parking, but I should mention also bathroom. So it's interesting, I was contacted by the owners of 9 Main and the Smithy about wondering if we were ever going to try to get a public bathroom in New Preston, because all the shops seem to send everybody down to 9 Main. And when I was at the business and breakfast that the WBA hosted, I was actually taken aside by another business in New Preston asking about parking, and actually the Smithy always asked about that too. So parking and a bathroom in New Preston. We have talked about this before. I spoke with Jim because they had said, can we at least get a porta potty, which I think is maybe a solution. I'm not sure how many people, I don't know how successful that would be, but it's worth at least trying maybe for, the next busy season. But I think it coincides with, and I'm going to see, I have my computer downstairs all set up for this to share. And, oh, such a bummer. All the things, the screens that I was going to share with you downstairs, I don't have open here. I have a couple of pictures I can share with you though. So in New Preston, let me share this screen. So in New Preston, there is the Nick Platt Park. Can you guys see this? Can you see this picture?
Yes.
Okay. So the Nick Platt Park is up at the top of Hinckley. It's the corner of Hinckley and Church Street. And if you walk, I mapped it from J site up Church Street to this corner, to the parking lot right here, it is 0.2 miles. It is a 3-minute walk. So it is really not that far. It's not ideal parking, but it's certainly great for overflow. If anybody drove through New Preston this summer, you saw what just people were parked all over the place, and extending the parking on 45, going down to 202, like beyond kind of where it's safe. It's a mess, and the town doesn't own any land right in the center there to help out with. So this is municipal parking. We can send people up here. So the 2 things we want to try to figure out is, 1, where can we put signs to help people find this parking lot? And I'll make some of the blue P, municipal parking signs to bring them to this lot. And then, Jim said if we were to have a porta potty, this would be the place to put it. And I don't know if Jim is still with us, but we'd also kind of thought it would be interesting to just look and see how much it would cost to put some more, like a more permanent bathroom facility at this little park that we have. I took this picture randomly one day, and there were people there playing on the playground. I know my kids used to play 9 and under soccer up there. They had the little, tiny little nets up there. So it's not used a lot, but it is a municipal space that is used some. So we'll definitely explore that. The issue, let's see, Jim is not still on. The issue with the parking signs is where to put them. I thought we could just start putting them on existing signs. And apparently, if there's a sign, if the sign is anywhere near a state road, we need their sign up. So here I'm sharing again. This is Jay Sykes. This is the beginning of Church Street. And there's a sign pole here. I thought on the back side we could put a parking sign. You won't see it until you've actually made that turn, but if you're like circling around looking for parking, you might see it. But I guess either we have to get special permission to put it on that sign.
Church Street one way.
I'm pretty sure it's 2-way. And Jim didn't really want to send traffic up that road.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe if that was one way, maybe you can get some parking on one side and just have people come down that hill to exit, go in.
Oh, you mean like park on the road?
Well, if you make it one way, yeah.
If you make it one way.
Again, who are we to make it one way? But I'm just saying, if it were a one-way street, it just cuts down on some of the safety issues.
Yeah, and we can definitely look into that. I mean, there are rules about width and necessary for, to do on-street parking. The reason I like sending them up that way is, well, there's a sidewalk actually all the way down, which is pretty remarkable for around here until you get to like that little bridge. But Jim really wanted to send them up. So here, can you see this? Wait, oh no, I'm sharing the wrong. Okay. How does this work? I was trying to share another picture. Let me share this one. All right, do you see this one? This is the corner. Right, so Jay Sykes is immediately to my left, and then that's the street I want to send people down, and then there's Clem is in that right there. And so I took this picture because I was looking for a good place to put a parking, the blue P to get people to turn left. Jim really wanted people to turn left down by Plaingood. I think that's New Preston Hill, because it's a wider road, bigger road. And I get that. I'm just afraid people will not realize how close they could still walk back down Church Street, which is, a 0.2-mile walk, much shorter than going the long way. So we'll kind of look at that. I don't think sending overflow parking up that road would be overly taxing, but I suppose it could be. So I spoke with Jim about this. Unfortunately, it looks like he had to run, but the next job was to go and drive it with Kevin, our highway guy, figure out what kind of signage would be possible and, what kind of permits we would need to get. And I think that's a great idea. We'll look and see, about making it one way. There's really only one person who lives on that stretch, I think, so we might not get a lot of pushback from the neighbors. If all of a sudden the street you live on is one way and the only way you can go home is to go around the long way, that might be kind of annoying. But we can definitely take a look at that. So, okay, so this is just something for us to think about. We've known that parking and bathroom facilities are an issue in New Preston, and it's just tough nut to crack because there's not a lot of space up there, but we'll continue to take a look at that. Any other thoughts or comments on that? No? Okay. Next on the new business, River Road streetscaping. So this was brought to me by a resident. I have my notes here somewhere. Oh, I wonder if I left him downstairs in the frantic move upstairs. Well, anyway, so the part of River that they're suggesting we do some beautification to is the back side of the businesses. So the back part of the depot. So it used to be Main Street before the flood, and then they made that sort of the back road. And you know, by Judy Black and then the liquor store, it's kind of okay. But when you're on the back side then of the market and the post office, I'm pointing, I'm sorry, it's right out here for me. It seems silly for you. It's just, it doesn't look very nice. It's the loading docks, it's the parking, there's all the trash, all the dumpsters are back there. It looks pretty crummy, and it's, you know, a lot of people drive that road. It's the road to get down to Steep Rock. People go, you know, make a circle when they're looking for parking. They go around that. So I walked, just so you know, it was Abdo Ballister, who's on the art council as well, who had this idea. And I went and walked it with him. And we looked at there, I do think there are some space for some plantings between the parking lot and the road. There's a sort of a little bit of green space that you could get some green evergreen bushes that wouldn't get too tall into the power lines, but could kind of hide some of the parking lot dumpster stuff. We looked at, there's a huge electrical box. We thought maybe put a planter in front of it and just do something kind of simple, even evergreen. You know, to take it to the next level, we could try to talk to the buildings about awnings or paint colors or trellises. And, you know, I thought we would just first step, maybe look at some plantings. Abdo had already spoken with Jim. I spoke with Jim. He was on board with exploring it. I think the next steps will be to talk to those property owners. And also I have to figure out, need to talk to Kevin, the highway person, about the right-of-way of the road. I don't know exactly where it ends and how much, you know, the town has a right-of-way to. And we need to talk to Eversource because there are poles there, that big electrical box thing. I don't know what the rules are about how close you can plant to or what you can do with those. So I told Abdo I would bring it to the EDC because I feel like this is sort of a, you know, village center beautification type project. I need to work with Jim and Kevin and Eversource to kind of get the deal on the permissions and the lot lines and everything. Once I do that and we have sort of some ideas, then I think we would then need to try to find some funding. And I think we might have some funding available through the EDC, either through our operating, and I have to check. I really feel like we put $10,000 in the capital non-recurring like 2 years ago for some signage updates. So I'll double check on that. But I also think we could write letters to Village Improvement, for example, or maybe there's some other grant opportunities to try to find some funding to do plantings or buy some planters or something. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I want everyone, I should have taken pictures. I should have put them up here today. I didn't have that, but I think you've all, you know, next time you drive by, slow down, take a look at it, see what you think. Any thoughts?
I walk by there all the time, and that would be great because it does have that, you know, sad back of house feel.
Yeah, I agree. I also, you know, we need to talk to the property owners. I recognize, especially like for the market, he's got big food trucks getting in there, so we can't block off too much with planters to try to hide like the operations of what's going on. And truthfully, George, the back of George's that he keeps his properties very well maintained. It's the next door property where the post office is, where it's owned. I think there are 3 owners. It's like a co-op. So I don't know that anyone feels necessarily ownership back there. It's dumpsters and the mail trucks, and it could look better even if without plantings. It could be, which maybe would then be like a letter from the EDC to some of the property owners saying, hey, this is important to the community. We would love to help find some money. If you could, I don't know exactly how to approach it. But I do think it would be nice. It's very visible. It's a very visible space.
I think it would look nice. I think we have to be worried about visibility when you make the left out of that parking area.
You mean coming, like if you go by Legion Hall, you're making the round?
Yeah, you're coming out there. If you're making a left, you still have to be able to see. And I don't know, I've driven by it 1,000 times. I can't visualize what's there now and what the depth is.
I know, when we walk, take a look at it, because we were thinking that maybe like on the corner right there could be a low planter, whether it's like concrete like we have out here in the plaza or something else, just like on the corner, because the driveway for the mail trucks is right there. So we wouldn't be able to plant up to the corner. You'd be able to see around.
Mhm.
I think the screening part would be once you've made a left down, 25 yards, something like that. Yeah, but you're right. Like as you leave, you look left and you're seeing all that stuff. I don't know. And another thing, if somebody's got time, sometimes just kind of Googling images of what other places do. Backsides of shopping malls, backsides of all sorts of, commercial spaces. They put up lattice, they do things, right? So maybe there are things that we haven't thought of that we could do to kind of spruce it up back there. So,
Or even kind of try to tie in Chippewa with it, maybe through their ag unit. Maybe they can make planters of some sort that would be
great idea.
Decorative and useful.
Whether they make the planters or they do some of the plantings, if we raise some money to purchase the plants, but they do the actual, great idea. I mean, it's worth asking.
They have their plant sale every spring too, so we could plant some of their plants there. Buy plants from them and plant them.
Right,
there.
or we could ask, because I know they start seedlings, so we could say, hey, we would really love something that's, evergreen, road hardy, that won't grow more than 12 feet tall or something. Could you start some seedlings for us or
They might have better ideas.
Yeah, they might. And I was thinking plantings. I mean, maybe it's a fence. I don't know. I don't know what the correct answer is. And again, some of that will be decided once we figure out the lot lines and, the setback and the right of way and how much space there is to work with, if any. All right. So think about that. More to come on that. But I do think that whatever is decided, if anything is to happen there, coming from the EDC gives it more credibility and more weight than just, one person trying to beautify part of the town. So whether it's letter writing or whatever. All right, last new business item on the agenda, and of course I had it pulled up on the other computer. Let me see if I can pull it up quick. I was approached by somebody, I got a phone call. I'm not sure how they found me, probably, I don't know if they went on the website or if it was through the selectman's office. But they are interested in a Gilmore Girls Best of sorts. All right, can you see, oh gosh, where did my Zoom go? All right, can you see this document with Autumn's name at the top?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. I just thought I'd share the document with you because it's just a lot of word. So this woman called. It is not the person that we've worked with in the past. Shoot, I wish Fran were here. It's not the woman we've worked with in the past for the Fan Fest. And the minute she asked about doing a Gilmore Girls Festival, I said, I just want to let you know we're really small. We don't really have places to stay. We did it once and it was a lot for our town. And she really got the idea of a much more low impact sort of little event around working with other towns so that the fans would be in town, but maybe there were some buses going between the venues, between the events. So it seemed plausible. And so we emailed back and forth a couple of times. These were her notes to me. She was looking, she had originally said fall, and I actually said, it's too bad Fran's not here. If you talk to Fran or Liz, like they've been flat out this fall. They can't even keep Gilmore Girls stuff in stock. They've been so busy. So we thought it would be better to do it when we're not normally busy, to try to bring new people in. So they proposed March 22nd or that weekend, or April 11 through 13, which would be the second weekend of our restaurant week, which might be a good thing or not. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. And she apparently has reached out to New Milford to work on events in conjunction with them, which is, I think, great because they have a few places you can stay. And I just don't think, it's not going to be like hundreds of people convening all in one place at one time like it was here. It'd be more spread out. And so I feel like the impact would be a little more manageable for us. And some of the things that they thought, well, you can see the bulleted list of things that they would like to do. These are all things from the show, like the dance marathon, the Festival of Living Art, which is the kind of thing that maybe the Arts Council could kind of help organize. The knit-a-thon, we've got the knitting, we've got Stars Hell of Yarn, maybe they could help organize that. So I really feel like if we sort of spread things out, have a little something going on at the town hall and something down there, it could maybe work. Her company is called Decade Days. I went to their website. She said they don't really have a website yet, but they're working on one. What they do is they use their website for the event that they're planning at the moment. And right now they've got one going on. It's like the Teen Wolf. I don't know. What they do is they organize these weekends around a show. So they've done Teen Wolf, One Tree Hill, and Vampire Diaries. And they get actors from those shows to come. I don't know. I couldn't get an itinerary of what they exactly do. Maybe they speak from they have a 2-hour speaking engagement. I don't know how often the actors are on site. But they at least have produced some of these. And apparently the One Tree Hill ones they did were in Wilmington. I'm thinking that's Wilmington, North Carolina, because I think that show is like kind of one of those Outer Banks type things. I'm not sure. So I don't know. What do we? You guys. Oh, Fran, you're back.
I'm back.
Sorry, shoot, you just missed the whole intro. I'll give the short version. I was contacted by somebody to do a Gilmore Girls event. But it would not be just in our town. It would be, she also reached out to New Milford. She was thinking of events sort of spread throughout the two towns. And I will send you this document. What I did is I just cut and pasted stuff from her emails and put them all together so that people could kind of see what she was thinking. This is their website. I was telling them that they've done weekend events around a show for these different, the Vampire Diaries, Teen Wolf, and One Tree Hill. So they have experience doing this. One of the things I asked her is, how do you get around the naming, the Gilmore Girls? Because I know that's
licensing.
Yeah, the licensing. And she said they would call it a convention in a small town. I don't know how they do that. But if we decide that were interested possibly, then, you know, we would kind of help try to secure locations, get some businesses on board for the various things that they wanted to, you know, like the Festival of Living Art. Maybe the WA would like to do that. You know, we could work with them, and I don't know. I guess what I'm wondering from you all, and Fran, we'll have to talk, you know, with the WBA, is what are the questions we would have? What do I need to get? What kind of information do I need to get from her for the EDC and the WBA to feel confident either moving forward or saying no? I mean, we could always just say no, like we're not interested. But what are people's thoughts? Fran, the other thing I wanted to point out, because she had originally mentioned the fall, and I said, no, please, we are already overrun in the fall with our Gilmore Girls fans. So she was suggesting a spring weekend, which I thought might be kind of interesting to see if we can spread the Gilmore Girls people out a little bit and bring them here in the spring when they're not usually here. So what are your thoughts, Fran, especially from the WBA? Do you guys ever?
Well, I don't have any thoughts from the WBA at this point. I mean, I think it, you know, I mean, obviously, Lisa, you know, was heavily involved before, and I'm just curious to know what Jenny and Marcus Whitaker are planning for next year. And I think it'd be interesting to, I mean, obviously interesting to see more of what it is she's proposing.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe what I'll do
and the town, and obviously the town has to approve it too. It's not just the WEDC and the WBA planning something. I mean, because it would be taking over the depot, I would think, and possibly the Washington Green as well.
I told her that we had reservations about taking over the whole town for a weekend, that was a lot for us last time, which is why she reached out to New Milford. So I think she was kind of talking about there being events in different places at different times, but not like shutting down the whole depot.
And is she looking for funding, or is this to be a self-funded event?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I don't think she's looking for funding. I think she's looking for help in the organizing, you know, finding the venues, getting people on board with, you know, for example, she spelled bale wrong, but she said hay bale maize at a local farm, you know, helping her maybe find somebody who would be interested in doing that. And that could be, you know, like a farm that's between here and New Milford, like Kimberly or something, up by their ice cream shop where they have lots of space. So,
right.
So I guess my question to you all is there enough interest for me to get more information, and what should that information be? And then it sounds like I was not on the organizing side when the last fest came. So I guess maybe talking to Lisa, having a meeting with the WBA with more information. What do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I was part of the organizing the last time. Jenny and Marcus did a huge amount of it, but it would be worth more to carefully revisiting that. At that point, there were a lot of community concerns, some of which are no longer viable. But, you know, I mean, that has to be thought about too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's kind of why I wanted the EDC's gut feeling on this. Like, are we intrigued? Are we horrified? You know, what's the word on the street? Are people, I hear from businesses sometimes, you know, like that we should kind of lean into the Gilmore Girls a little bit, but the fest kind of scares people a little, like maybe like that was too much. So I was hoping maybe we could find a happy medium But I don't know. But if there's enough interest, I'll get some more information.
I think the businesses this fall, I mean, it's been hectic, but the businesses have certainly benefited from, and the restaurants. I mean, I think in terms of the business side of the community, there's been a benefit to the activity that has occurred. But if you're talking about a festival here in Washington, you have to think much more broadly than that. I mean, there's lodging, there's activities, there's parking, there's dates, as you said.
Yeah, my feeling, I love that she reached out to New Milford. I was kind of hoping she'd reach out to Litchfield because I feel like they have more lodging options. But I would almost love for that, whatever town it is, to be the host, not us, and us to be more of the excursion town. So that, yes, we had a couple of events, they want to do a dance marathon. I think that would be so fun to host in the town hall, right? But that's not shutting down the town. That's, maybe an evening event. It's a dance. And it's just like any other event where you rent the town hall. It's not, whether it's a wedding or a dance-a-thon, right? Same idea with the knit-a-thon or the maze. Like any of these could be sort of one-off events that are part of a festival that's mostly happening somewhere else. But maybe that was kind of what I was thinking.
Well, why don't you bring other minds into it?
Yeah.
For a conversation, and then.
So, Fran, who do you think that conversation should be with? It should be
Lisa.
Yeah.
Liz.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So I'll reach out to them. I'll see if I can set up maybe a Zoom. I think Autumn lives in like Tennessee or something. I forget what she said. So she's not.
Well, you mean for her to talk about what she's interested in. I mean, it would be helpful if you've got information, if you gave that to the group to just take a look at ahead of time, and possibly having a coffee meeting or something to discuss, inviting any other members of this committee who might be interested, but just to chat about it.
Yeah, no, I would love that, because that's, I took the call and I said, well, I'll bring it to the committee and see what they think. And if people are like, absolutely not, we want nothing to do with this, I'm totally fine. Right?
I doubt that. I would be very surprised if that was the case.
Okay. Yeah. I'm happy to help with it or not. I just was trying to, so I did some email back and forth with her, kind of told her what had happened in the past and what our concerns were. And so, yeah, that's great. So I'll share this document with Lisa, Liz, and Fran, and anyone else they feel should be involved. And we'll decide if we want to set up a meeting with Autumn or not. That sounds like a good idea. Are there any other questions? Anybody here that would want to be on that call? Or, I mean, I guess if we move forward, we would need the help of the EDC a little bit as well.
Can you send us this document, because I can't read it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it not large enough?
It's just too small. I can't read it.
Okay, here. Shoot, I wish you told me. I could have zoomed in a little, but yeah, I'll send it to you. It's a lot to digest. I just wanted there to be some words instead of just me speaking, so you could kind of see what I was talking about. So I will send this out to everybody, and get a a meeting together with some WBA people before we reach out to Autumn. All right, let me stop the share here.
What is her timetable?
She said as soon as possible so they can start getting the actors on board. So, like, the first thing if we feel like we might want to move forward, the first thing to do would be to nail down the weekend, March or April. And then they would start working on the talent, and we would start thinking about the different venues, and we would work together on figuring out the activities and such. That's all I know. I went to their Decade Days website, and it looks pretty legit. It's funny because the event that they have going on in January, so the whole website is really just about the January stuff. And I think it's Vampire Diaries, but I'm not even sure. It's geared to a younger crowd, like kind of a different crowd. It doesn't have the Gilmore Girls feel to it, but I bet if it were like One Tree Hill, it would look a little different or whatever it is that they've got going on right now. I will also look, I did go to Jenny's site. I'm trying to think where my notes are. Because they don't call it the Gilmore Girls Fest anymore either. I had to really search. Jenny, they're still doing it. They did one in Guilford, I think, this year.
Guilford this year, they called that that was a fan fest.
Yeah, but it was called something Firefly.
Well, that was a subtitle.
Yeah, because they had to stop using the Gilmore Girls name, is what I heard.
No, well, Gilmore Girls figured very prominently into everything that they did in relationship to it, because I have a Google alert on that.
Okay, yeah, but when you went to the website, it was versus other years, it was scrubbed of the word Gilmore Girls a lot, and it was just alluded to a lot. So I don't know if they've set a date for next year. I don't know what
they've been doing it for the last few years in August. For a couple of years, it was in Ogunquit, Maine. This past year, it was in Guilford. I don't know. They're doing a cruise in January.
Wow. Okay. All right. I think that's good for this information. If anybody has any other questions, I know I kind of how to move forward with this. That was the last of the new business. Last bit is any other reports. We've lost Jim, so I don't have anything for selectmen. But Fran, anything else from the WBA?
No.
Yeah, Holiday in the Depot is December 13th. So.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring up the request for having like the 15-minute parking in front of the post office during the farmers market.
Mm-hmm. What is the update?
I mean, I don't know what else well, if you just said to bring it up at the next meeting, and that's
I did. Okay. Well, when I spoke with Jim about that, he was like, yeah, no, basically.
I know, I thought it was a little lazy, but whatever.
He just was like, yeah, that's just, and signage, again, like, there's nobody to police that. So I do think that the parking signs have been helping.
Mm-hmm.
As it, Fran has told us, it was busy this fall. We had Gilmore Girls and locals, it was a busy fall. The depot was full, but I think that additional parking signs helped. I have not heard any more about the 15-minute parking.
Okay. I saw that same person like a week later. I was like, no, we haven't talked about it yet.
Is somebody asking for it or just an update on it?
No, they just asked for it, and then I just happened to run into the same person like a week later.
Okay. Well, if somebody really wants that to happen, they're going to need to come make their case probably to Jim, to the select.
Okay.
They could come to the EDC as well, but it would eventually then go, because it's all town owned. That whole plaza, all that
sure
is town owned.
Okay.
And he didn't feel that was a great solution. But we didn't really spend time. we just figured we'll try to direct people to the municipal lot that we do have and see if that takes care of the problem. And I haven't heard again, so
Fair enough.
thanks. Yeah, keep me posted or let them know
Yeah.
if it's still a concern.
Sure.
Any new businesses coming into town? But you know-
Yes. In the place on the corner of Titus and
By the pizza place?
47.
I thought are you talking about by the pizza place?
No, where David Miles' office is.
Yeah,
Across
across
from
the
KMR
street.
Arts.
Like from KMR, it's like a tan one-story building on the corner there. As you turn to go to the pantry, you know, you turn on Titus, it's right on the corner between that ASAP.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in that store, word on the street is that's going to be a clothing store of some sort or gift clothing. Gift,
No, that's
maybe.
going to be, that one is going to be furnishings, gifts, decorating.
Okay.
Jay McLaughlin will be closing the end of December, and a clothing store will replace Jay McLaughlin.
Oh, that's okay. The clothing is going in there and gifts and home furnishings is going in the other one.
Good.
Other
How about by the pizza place?
I mean, it's across the street from George, but their emphasis is going to be Italian.
Oh. Okay. Across from the pizza place. Oh, you mean
No, next to the pizza place.
next
That
to the
looks like
pizza
it's
place?
empty.
I don't know anything about that building, like what's happening. I just see the for lease sign.
Mhm.
I don't know. And you know, I was going down River Road the other day and I was wondering also about the white building next to it that used to be Jim Kelly's law offices. And then a builder went in there and then they disappeared. And it's a huge commercial building that I don't see any activity in. No movement on the Fleming Hidden Valley, that building either that I'm aware of. Victoria Rowan has taken over the old bank space that was Stephanie's Flowers. Well, it was before it was Stephanie.
Litchfield Bancorp.
Stewart's.
Litchfield Bancorp, but then what was her name?
Stewart's.
Stewart's Florals.
Yeah, Stewart's.
Yeah, Stewart.
Florals.
Stewart's Florals, which is now Flowers by Stephanie, moved to the Inari space. We lost a restaurant, which is kind of sad, but I was in there the other day, really cute. She did a nice job with that space. It looks great. I hope people find her. And Victoria Rowan has gone into that bank space with a name. It's going to be called the Idea Depot, and a sort of a co-working sort of art pop-up event kind of space. I mean, she's still kind of working on getting people, it's a work in progress. Like, she just signed the lease. She's getting it kind of cleaned up. So I think it's a really interesting idea. The EDC before COVID had talked and entertained about trying to get a co-working space together, because that was sort of the thing before COVID. And I feel like now, post-COVID, so many people are working from home remotely, but might appreciate having some common space, whether it's a conference room that they could schedule. One of the people who is going to rent with her is Susie
Paxton.
What?
Susie Paxton.
Yes,
I was
Susie
just getting
Paxton.
the name.
With her Point Studio Media. So her cameras and everything will be in there. So if somebody wanted to do some kind of video conferencing, that might be a possibility. I'm not sure. She moved out of that building by the pizza place. She was renting that. So it was occupied, but not like a storefront. So I don't know what will happen with that space. So things on the move there, and some vacancies. Actually, I was talking to Michael Ferreira, who's the guy who organized the restaurant week for us. He stopped in my office today, And he was just saying his whole restaurant week thing has taken off, and he's helping organize restaurant weeks in Torrington and in Winstead and in Kent and in Salisbury, like all over the place. So I told him if he ever hears of anybody who is looking to expand, you know, that we have the Fleming space available. I hate to see that just sitting there, but.
You had mentioned a noodle place at one point going in where Stephanie went. Maybe the noodle place goes there.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's larger than what they were looking for. The realtor who told me that they had looked at it, but then I don't know why that fell through. I don't know if that was a health department thing or if they changed their mind. Oh, Liz has to go too. So we lost Robin. We're losing Liz. That means it's time to wrap.
I gotta go too.
I know. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Awesome. Thank you so much. See you guys.
All right.
Thank you.